All right, so today we're taking a deep dive into the world of the Suzuki Gixxer 250 SF.
The Gixxer.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
found this article online that's been making the rounds,
Okay.
and they're calling it like the perfect blend of style, power, and performance,
Hmm.
especially for like the everyday rider.
Yeah, those are some big claims right there.
Yeah,
Got to see if it lives up to the hype.
exactly. So let's break it down,
Yeah.
starting with, I guess, the heart of any motorcycle,
Sure.
the engine.
Yeah, the engine.
So 249cc, single cylinder, oil cooled.
Lots of numbers there.
I know.
Yeah.
What does all that mean for someone who maybe doesn't live and breathe motorcycle specs?
Okay, well, let's start with that 249cc.
Yeah.
That puts it, squarely in that like beginner-friendly category.
Mm.
Enough power to have some fun on the highway,
Yeah.
but not so much that it's gonna
Be intimidating.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're just starting out, that's a good step up from,
I-
a smaller bike.
Gotcha. So maybe not a speed demon, but how's it handle like everyday riding? Like passing on the highway or hill?
Oh, totally. It's got the juice for that.
Okay.
So you've got 26.5 PS at 9,300 RPM. That gives you that passing power. And then 22.2 nanometers of torque at 7,300 RPM.
Okay.
And that means you're going to be handling those hills like a champ.
Okay, nice. And 6 gears.
6 gears.
That's a lot of gears.
It is, yeah. It might seem a little daunting at first,
Yeah.
but you get used to it pretty quick.
Hmm.
And the advantage there is you get really fine-grained control over the bike's power.
Okay.
So, zipping around town, you're in those lower gears for that quick acceleration.
Yeah.
But then you hit the open road, you can shift up to 6th.
Okay.
And you've got a smooth, fuel-efficient ride.
Nice. So this article goes on and on about the Gixxer's sporty aerodynamic design.
Right.
And it does look pretty sleek in the photos.
Yeah.
They even mention like LED lighting, headlight, taillight.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a nice touch.
It is.
But how much does aerodynamics actually matter on a bike like this?
It might surprise you,
Oh.
but it actually matters a lot, especially if you're going to be using it for both city and highway riding, like you said.
Yeah.
So basically, less wind resistance means less fight at those higher speeds.
Okay.
And that translates to a more stable ride, better fuel economy. And you're not going to get as tired on those longer rides.
So it's not just about looking cool.
No.
There's like actual function behind that.
Right. There's some science behind it.
I like that. All right, let's talk safety.
Okay.
The Gixxer has dual-channel ABS.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Break it down for us.
Okay, so dual-channel ABS is a game changer for safety.
Okay.
It basically means that both wheels are monitored,
Okay.
and it prevents them from locking up if you have to brake hard.
Okay.
So let's say you're in like a sudden stop situation. Instead of skidding out, you maintain control.
Okay.
And that can be a lifesaver, especially, for someone who's newer to riding.
Yeah, for sure. So safe braking is key.
Absolutely.
But so is handling those bumps in the road.
Right.
And that's where the Gixxer suspension comes in.
Yeah.
They talk about a steel diamond frame, telescopic front forks,
Uh-huh.
and a monoshock rear suspension.
Lots of jargon there.
Yeah, can you paint a picture of what all that means for the actual ride?
Sure. So imagine a diamond shape.
Okay.
That's how the steel frame is built.
Yeah.
And that gives the bike its strength and its stability. The
Right.
front forks, those are like shock absorbers in your car,
Gotcha.
soaking up those bumps. And then the monoshock in the rear that keeps that back wheel planted.
Okay.
All together, they're aiming for a smooth, controlled ride, even on roads that aren't perfect.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like Suzuki put some thought into how this thing handles.
They did, yeah.
But how does it actually stack up against the competition?
Okay.
This article throws in a comparison table.
Yeah.
Yamaha R15 V4, the KTM RC200, the Bajaj Dominar 250, and the Honda CBR 250R.
Wow, that's a lot of bikes.
I know, right? So many numbers to digest.
Yeah.
What should we really be paying attention to here?
Well, we can break it down and see where the Gixxer shines and where it maybe falls a little short.
Okay.
And for you, since you mentioned commuting and weekend trips,
Right.
fuel efficiency is a big one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So the Gixxer holds its own there, especially compared to like the KTM RC200. That one's more of a, sporty, performance-focused bike.
Okay, yeah, the Yamaha R15 V4s come in a little cheaper
Yeah,
and seems to get even better mileage.
right.
Is that a tempting alternative?
You know, it's definitely worth considering if budget is your top priority.
Okay.
But remember, it's got a smaller engine, so
Yeah.
you might be sacrificing some of that power and versatility that you get with the Gixxer's 250cc engine.
So like I mentioned those hills earlier,
Exactly.
the Gixxer would probably handle those a little better.
Probably.
What about the Honda CBR 250R?
The CBR.
Yeah, that one seems to be in the same, like, power performance ballpark as the Gixxer,
Yeah, similar specs.
but it comes with a higher price tag.
It does.
What's the strategy there?
Well, I think it's all about finding that right balance for the target audience.
Yeah.
So Honda is banking on brand recognition
Okay.
and maybe a slightly more like premium feel.
Yeah.
But Suzuki, I think they're playing the value card with the Gixxer.
Okay.
You know, they're aiming for that sweet spot. Not the cheapest,
Wow.
not the most powerful,
Right.
but a solid all-around performer.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a good handle on, like the performance of the Gixxer,
Yeah.
how it stacks up against its rivals.
Right.
Now let's dig into those advantages and drawbacks
Okay.
that the article highlights.
Sure.
So on the plus side,
Yeah.
they mention like reliable engine performance, impressive fuel economy,
Mm-hmm.
advanced safety features,
Of course.
stylish design, and low maintenance costs.
That's pretty good.
Right. Seems like a pretty tempting package.
It does, but every bike has its quirks, right?
True?
That's where it gets interesting for me. They point out potential stability issues at high speeds.
Yeah, that definitely raises a red flag.
Right.
Especially because we were just talking about how aerodynamics contribute to a more stable ride.
Exactly. It's a little bit of a contradiction there.
Yeah.
We'd need more information to really understand like what's going on with those stability issues
Right.
and whether it's a deal breaker for the average rider.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that caught my eye was the lack of any modern connectivity features.
Oh, yeah.
No Bluetooth, no smartphone integration. I mean, it's 2025.
I know, right?
Is Suzuki living in the past?
It's a surprising omission these days, for sure.
Yeah.
Riders are increasingly expecting features like, Bluetooth connectivity for music and calls, maybe even navigation.
Okay, so that IS good.
Yeah.
But with electric bikes getting better range, is fuel economy even enough of a selling point anymore?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Hey.
Fuel efficiency is still a major factor, especially for riders who are, clocking a lot of miles. But as battery tech improves and charging infrastructure expands, it might become less of a deciding factor.
Okay, the article also mentions a stiff suspension as a potential drawback.
Yeah.
How much of an issue is that in the real world?
So it really depends on your riding style
Okay.
and the roads you frequent.
Mm.
A stiff suspension can be great for sporty riding.
Okay,
Gives you that precise feedback and control.
gotcha.
But if you're mostly commuting or riding on rough roads, it could be a bumpy.
And the potential stability issues at high speeds.
Those are definitely worth considering.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all about weighing those pros and cons.
Right.
And deciding what's most important to you as a rider. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
If you had to pick one thing
Yeah.
that makes the Gixxer stand out, what would it be?
I think it's the overall package.
Hmm.
Suzuki has managed to strike a balance
Okay.
between performance style and affordability.
Hmm.
They're not trying to be everything to everyone,
Right.
but they've created a bike that will appeal to a wide range of riders,
Yeah.
especially those who are new to motorcycles or looking for a versatile and stylish everyday option.
That makes sense. It's not trying to be a superbike.
Right.
It's trying to be a really good all-rounder,
Exactly.
solid choice for commuting weekend rides,
Yeah,
even tackling those hills you mentioned.
precisely. And in a crowded market like this,
Yeah.
finding that niche is often the key to success.
So what does all this mean for you, our listener? Who might be picturing themselves cruising down the road on a Gixxer 250 SF?
Yeah.
What should they take away from this deep dive?
If you're looking for a stylish, fuel-efficient, and relatively affordable bike,
Okay.
that's easy to handle
Uh-huh.
and comes with those essential safety features.
Right.
The Gixxer 250 SF is definitely worth a test ride.
Especially if you're a newer rider.
Yeah,
Or prioritize practicality and versatility.
for sure. It seems like Suzuki has hit that sweet spot for a lot of riders.
But as with any big purchase,
Yeah,
it's crucial to do your research.
absolutely.
Test ride the bike, see how it feels,
Right.
compare it to other options in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
Think about your own riding style and what you value most.
Exactly. Don't just jump on the hype train.
Right.
Make sure it's the right train for you.
Yeah. Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I want to shift gears a bit.
Sure.
We've talked about, the Gixxer's features, how it performs,
Right.
its place in the market.
Yeah.
But what about the future?
Ah, yes, the future of motorcycles.
Right.
That's a fascinating topic.
It is.
The world of motorcycles is constantly evolving, and we're seeing incredible advancements in technology from electric motorcycles to sophisticated rider assistance systems.
We touched on electric bikes earlier, and I'm curious to get your take on how a bike like the Gixxer 250 SF stays relevant in this rapidly changing landscape. What does it need to do to keep up?
Well, for starters, Suzuki might need to reconsider adding those connectivity features we discussed.
Yeah.
You know, riders are increasingly expecting things like Bluetooth connectivity, smartphone integration,
Right.
maybe even navigation systems.
Yeah, that lack of modern connectivity was a recurring theme in our analysis.
It was.
It might not be a deal breaker today, but who knows what the expectations will be in a few years.
Exactly. And it's not just about, keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
These features can actually enhance safety,
Okay.
convenience, and the overall riding experience. Imagine being able to control your music answer calls. Yeah. Or even get turn-by-turn directions without taking your hands off the handlebars.
It's almost like motorcycles are becoming an extension of our smartphones,
In a way. Yes.
which honestly isn't that surprising in 2025.
Right. And that trend is only going to accelerate.
Yeah.
So Suzuki will need to decide how they want to position the Gixxer in this evolving technological landscape. Do they want to stick with a more traditional approach?
Right.
Or do they want to embrace these new advancements?
It's a tough call.
It is.
On the one hand, there's something to be said for keeping things simple
Yeah.
and focusing on that core riding experience.
For sure.
But on the other hand, ignoring these advancements could make the Gixxer seem outdated compared to its competitors.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the elephant in the room,
Which is?
an electric motorcycle.
Oh, yes. The future is electric, as they say.
Right.
Are gas-powered bikes like the Gixxer going to go the way of the dinosaur?
Well, we're seeing more and more electric motorcycles hitting the market.
Offering impressive performance, zero emissions, and a whole new riding experience.
Right.
Suzuki will need to decide how they want to respond to this growing trend.
Do they go all in on electric?
Yep.
Or do they try to find ways to make their combustion engine bikes even better, more efficient, more appealing?
It's a fascinating dilemma.
It is.
And it's not just about the technology itself.
Okay.
It's about understanding what riders will want in the future.
Yeah.
Will they be willing to embrace electric motorcycles?
Hmm.
Or will they still crave that sound and feel of a traditional combustion engine?
I guess that's where market research and a bit of crystal ball gazing come in.
A little bit of both.
But it's exciting to think about the possibilities, isn't it?
Absolutely. The world of motorcycles is on the cusp of a major transformation.
Yeah.
And it'll be fascinating to see how Suzuki and other manufacturers adapt and innovate in the years to come.
This is why I love doing these deep dives.
Me too.
We start with something as specific as a single motorcycle model.
But it inevitably leads us to these bigger questions about technology,
Yeah.
consumer behavior, and the future of an entire industry.
It's all connected.
It is.
And as much as we can analyze the present, the real fun is in speculating about what lies ahead.
Okay, so let's loop back to those FAQs from the article.
Sure.
The one about top speed caught my eye.
Okay.
It's listed at around 140 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, about there.
Is that fast?
For a 250cc bike, that's pretty respectable.
Okay.
And honestly, probably more than enough for most riders,
Yeah?
especially if you're using it for commuting or,
Those weekend trips.
Yeah, exactly.
But remember we talked about those potential stability issues at high speeds.
Oh, right. Yeah.
How does that factor into that top speed number?
But that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that, specs only tell part of the story. Sure, a bike might be capable of reaching a certain speed,
Right.
but if it feels wobbly or difficult to handle,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a fun or safe experience.
So it's not just about how fast you can go,
No.
but how the bike performs and feels at those speeds. Makes sense. Okay, another FAQ that's always top of mind,
Yeah,
fuel economy.
of course.
The article says the Gixxer 250 SS gets around 35 to 40 kilometers per liter.
Pretty impressive.
Right.
Yeah, for a gas-powered bike in 2025, that's not bad at all.
Okay.
And I think it goes back to what we were discussing earlier about Suzuki's target audience.
Right.
They're clearly appealing to riders who value practicality and affordability.
That said, we're living in a world where electric bikes are getting better and better ranges.
They are, yeah.
Does fuel efficiency even matter as much anymore
Mm-hmm.
when you can potentially ride, 100 miles or more on a single charge.
That's the big question facing a lot of manufacturers right now.
Right.
As battery tech keeps advancing that traditional advantage of gasoline engines, fuel efficiency,
Right.
it starts to lose its shine.
So are the days of gas-powered motorcycles numbered?
I don't think it's that black and white.
Okay.
I think we'll see a more gradual transition.
Okay.
Electric motorcycles will keep gaining ground as the tech improves and prices come down.
Right.
But there will likely be a place for both types of bikes for years to come.
So it's going to come down to personal preference.
I think so.
Some riders will be all about embracing that electric future.
Right.
While others will stick with, that classic gas-powered experience.
Absolutely. And it's not just about, performance or technology.
Okay.
Think about that emotional connection a lot of riders have with their gas-powered bikes. That sound, that smell, that visceral feeling.
Yeah.
It's hard to replicate that with an electric motor.
It's like the difference between listening to a vinyl record and streaming a digital music file.
Exactly.
Both have their pros and cons.
Right.
But some things just can't be replaced.
I agree with you there, and I think it goes even deeper than that.
Okay.
What is it about motorcycles that really captivates us?
It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
Right.
It's about freedom adventure, that connection between rider and machine.
It's about, the wind in your hair, the sun on your face, the open road stretching out in front of you, that feeling of escaping the everyday and experiencing the world in a whole new way.
And that's something that transcends technology or fuel type.
Yeah.
Whether you're on a gas-powered Gixxer 250 SF or a state-of-the-art electric motorcycle, that essence of the riding experience, it remains the same.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the Suzuki Gixxer 250 SF.
Sounds good.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from its engine and design to those all-important safety features.
Of course.
And how it measures up against the competition.
Right. We even ventured into the future of motorcycles.
We did.
Exploring those big questions about technology, consumer behavior, and what lies ahead for this industry. As always, our goal with these deep dives is to not just inform, but to inspire.
Absolutely.
We hope this has given you a better understanding of the Suzuki Gixxer 250 SF.
Yeah.
And sparked your curiosity about the world of motorcycles.
For sure.
So next time you see a motorcycle out on the road, take a moment to appreciate the engineering, the design, and that spirit of adventure it represents.
I like that.
And if you ever get the chance, hop on a bike yourself and experience that freedom firsthand.
Yeah.
You might just surprise yourself with what you discover.
You never know.
That's a wrap on our deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, ride safe and keep exploring.